Good morning students. Today I am going to take 12th standard computer science. Now we are going to see about chapter 1 functions. So learning objects. After the completion of this chapter, the student will be able to understand function specification, parameters and arguments, interface versus implementation, pure functions, side effects, impure functions. First, introduction for functions. Functions is a subprogram structure. We can call the function whenever we need to call a program. It may task some data from the main program and also returns values to the main program. Two major types of functions. One is an library function. Another one is an user-defined function. Library provide the facility for doing something, some predefined operations. It is otherwise called predefined functions. For example, printf, scanf, square root, etc. User-defined function. User-defined function is users to create those own functions to doing some specified task of the program. Example, main. So, the most important criteria in writing and evaluating the algorithm is the time it takes to complete a task. To have a meaningful comparison of algorithms, the duration of the computation's time must be independent of the programming language, compiler is a man and computer used. What is meant by programming language? Programming language is defined as method for communication between man and computer that uses a set of predefined words. These words are combined into a program according to a syntax. It classified as two-level language. One is for low-level language and another one is high-level language. The low-level language known to the computer is called low-level language or machine language. Example, zeros and ones, binary numbers. Another one is high-level language. The language known to the programmer is called the high-level language. This language uses meaningful words and statements used in English language. So it is very easy to understand the language. For example, Fortran, Pascal, COBOL, C, C++, Java. These are all high-level language. So the function will come under the high-level language. Next, function specification, function syntax, function type, function name, argument list or parameter list. Open curly brace, local variable declaration, executable statements, return statements, close curly brace. Let us see one example of a equal to 24. A equal to 24 has an expression in it, but 24 is not itself an expression. Rather, it is a function definition. Definition bind values to names. In this case, the value 24 being bound to the name A. Definitions are not expressions. At the same time, expressions are also not treated as definitions. Definitions are distinct syntactic blocks. Clear syntax of blocks. Definitions can have expression nested inside them, and vice versa. It is opposite. Parameter and argument. Parameters are the variables in a function definition and arguments are the values which are passed to a function definition. Parameter without type. Let us see an example of function definition. Requires b greater than or equal to 0. It is a conditions. Requires means preconditions. Returns post conditions. A to the power of b. Let is a keyword. REC is a recursive functions. Power of AB. What does mean by recursive? A function definition which call itself is called recursive function. If condition b equal to 0 then 1. 0 to 1. B value assign the 0 to 1. Else a to the power of a into b minus 1. It is an assignment operator. What is assignment operator? A equal to a star n minus 1. It is a multiple operator. Explanation of the program. In the above function, definition variable b is the precondition requires and the post condition returns of the function is given. Note we have not mentioned any data types. So, any mentioned data types. Some language compilers solve this type in inference problem algorithmically, but some requires the type to be mentioned. If in the above function definition, expression can return 1. Return value is 1. The branch by the typing rule entire if expression has type integer. Whole entire integer type. Since the if expression has type int, the function's return type also be int. Whenever expression is int, the function have return type is integer value. B is compared to the 0 with the equality operator, so B is also type of int. Since A is multiplied with the another expression using the multiply operator, A must be an integer. So whatever input we are giving, same will come as a output. For example, if I give integer as a input, same integer will come as the output. It is called as parameter without type. Parameter with type. Let us program recurse b greater than equal to 0 returns a to the power of b. Let keyword recursive function power slightly different integer will occur. A integer, B integer, integer equal to, if B equal to 0 to 1, similar to the parameter without type, else A star power B into A minus 1. When we write the type annotation for A and B, parenthesis or the mandatory, generally we can leave out the annotation because it's simpler, let the compiler infer them. There are times we wanted to explicitly write down types. This is useful on times when you get a type error from the compiler doesn't make sense. Explicitly annotating types can be helped with the debugging such as errors message. So it is called as parameter with type. Syntax of the function. The syntax to define function is close to the mathematical usage. The definition is introduced by the keyword let. Already seen that let, followed by the name of the function and its arguments. Then the formula that computes the image of the argument is written after an equal to sign. If you want to define a recursive function, use let rec instead of a let. The syntax for function definitions. Let rec function a1, a2 up to an equal to k. K is an output. a1, a2, an is an input. Recursive function. Here the function is a variable indicating an identifier being used as a function name. The name is a1 to an are variables indicating the identifier used as parameters. The keyword rec is required if function is to be a recursive function. Otherwise it may be omitted. For example, let us see an example to check whether the entered number is even or odd. Recurse x greater than or equal to 0. Let recurse even x equal to something value. X equal to 0, odd number, x minus 1. Return even number. Any other value, some value assigned 3. So 3 minus 1, get a return value is even number. So 2 is an even. So, inga x equal to 4. So, 4 minus 1 to get a return value 3, odd number. So, it is called as even or entered number is a even or odd. The syntax for function types. X, y. X is the input or y is the output. More than one input is used. Only one output. x1 to xn. It is the input. This output. The x and y are variables indicating types. The types x to y is the type of a function that gets an input of a type x and returns an output of the type y. Whereas x1, x2, y is a type of a function that takes two inputs. The first inputs of the type x1 and second one is the x2 and returns output of the y. Likewise, x1 up to xn, y has a type x is input of arguments and y types is output. It is called as function syntax. So, all functions are static definition. There is no dynamic function definition. Static means stable, no changes. Dynamic means changes. So, it is called as functions syntax. Thank you, students.